I am living my dream life. My career to this date has gone uphill better than I would have ever dared to dream. I got promoted to CFO position at the age of 27 and then CEO at 29. And then got into 30 under 30 list by Forbes. It all felt too good to be true, so I kept analyzing and trying to find an answer. Why me? How did I get here? How did I manage to grow career-wise so efficiently? I looked for answers, tried to crack the formula. I still am in the process, yet I found two core things that have been part of my personality since I can remember myself. I wanted to grow, and I wanted to do it smart. Growth. For me, growth consists of two components: a wish to be or make something better, and a belief that I actually have what it takes. As much as I try to incorporate meditation into my life and read about finding peace and stillness in just being, I can't yet find it in me to be content without the next goal, the next challenge. I've been like this from early childhood, all about achievements, going further, going faster, being better than I was yesterday. You can blame the wind, or you can take it into account when planning your journey. I clearly remember the first time I decided to take matters into my own hands as a kid. In about second grade, my parents were already divorced and I was living with my mom. Mothers are different. Mine is the relaxed kind, which I was very happy about until I realized that she didn't give much damn on whether I am in school on time. We were almost always late and I had to rush and feel embarrassed. First, I thought I'd solve this by waking up earlier myself. So I found an alarm. There were specifically dedicated alarm devices back then, making various bird sounds. And I set it earlier so that I can wake up my mother on time as well. Then I realized it doesn't work. She wouldn't get out of bed earlier than at the least possible moment. So instead, I figured out which bus I could take, went to the stop, wrote down the schedule, and negotiated with my parents that I could go to school on my own. I loved the empowering feeling of being able to set my own agenda and, most importantly, be on time with some minutes to spare to prepare for class or socialize with my classmates. Taking matters into my own hands was forced onto me by external circumstances not so long ago again. I joined TWINO in 2017. TWINO was a startup to its core at the time. All fun, collaboration, quick growth, no bureaucracy. Cool, right? But during my intro weeks, when colleagues were onboarding me and talking about the great culture, employee benefits, and the ways of doing things at TWINO, I asked some questions I was truly surprised nobody had answers to. TWINO, at that time, didn't model its client economics, didn't do close cash flow tracking or monitoring, and actually its management report numbers tended to change retrospectively. Historically, the company has been lucky to be abundant of cash, profitable and growing, but by 2017, trends in several markets had changed and management wasn't aware cash and profitability were no longer as positive as they would like to think. When I realized this, I panicked. Had I just left a large, stable international company to join a messy, sinking ship? I over-exaggerate now, of course, but then I had such thoughts for sure. My instinct was to flee, to blame myself and the world around me. But then I quickly realized I can actually fix it. Data was there, the responsive and smart colleagues were there. They just needed someone to organize it all comprehensively. And so, within a few months, I built daily cash flow forecasting models, detailed management reports, and product profitability analysis. The good part about this is when we had our data in order, we could see trends and inefficiencies clearly and early on. So as a result, we were able to significantly improve profitability. Ownership and doing your best to determine your course and achieve goals is important. Yet, I've also learned that sometimes, even when you are bringing to the table all you've got, the desired outcome may be still out of reach. Stop, take a step back, and reconsider. Maybe it's not the time. When I want something and set my mind onto it, I have all the motivation in the world, translated into stringent discipline, detailed action plan, and so on. And once, I set my mind onto running a marathon at a specific pace. The event was due in April in Paris, but I was unfortunate that winter in 2018 was terribly cold and icy in Riga. I couldn't run outside before mid-March and trained on a treadmill instead. 5 runs a week, so I had to choose the best gym where at least I could look outside a window instead staring at a wall for all those hours. But the first time it was warmer than -5 degrees Celsius, I headed for a run outside. My schedule said that it had to be 28 kilometers long. It was still slippery, and as a result I strained my IT band. In simple words, I got runner's knee, 6 weeks before the actual event. I threw everything I could at it. Physiotherapy, massages, needle therapy, cold baths, warm baths, you name it, I tried it. What I didn't do is give up on my goal, continuing pushing because I knew without extra effort I couldn't run fast enough. Well, guess what? I had to quit my race on 27th kilometer, as I couldn't make it step further. It was the fastest 27 kilometers I had ever run, yet I didn't complete the marathon. And I struggled until the next season to run more than 5 kilometers, because I kept being in pain, fully recovering only after taking a complete break during the winter. Sometimes you have to adjust your goal. Had I recalibrated, I would have completed the marathon and probably had a great running season that year. So at work, and especially in TWINO, I've learned that many people are like me, in a way that they don't want to give up on the goal set. And that is truly valuable for any company. Yet, my role as a CEO means keeping my eyes open and soberly evaluating situation at all times. The great thing about TWINO is that we always have an ambition to grow, to become more. And part of this ambition was to receive a banking license in 2019. We had hired a team, started product and IT setup, as well as negotiations with the local regulator. And we were really surprised when the regulator didn't see the licensing process the same way we did. We had several options. First, to restructure, make suboptimal tax decision, selling most of profitable parts of our operations, which would be very costly to the company. Second, to attract external investors, which actually would lead to our funder losing control over the company, which he fought so fiercely to retain during early days of TWINO. Third, to go to Lithuania for a cheaper license, which didn't actually meet our goals and didn't allow us to realize the intended business plan. Or pivot. So I asked myself a question: what do we want to achieve with the banking license, and how can we get there by other means? And actually there was a way. I know it was a disappointment to the many people working on the project at the time. It was also a major effort and cost to be written off. But it was the only sensible thing to do. So we applied for investment brokerage and payment institution licenses instead. And the bank project was moved further down the roadmap. I studied at SSE Riga and was a really nasty course mate, arrogant and entitled as it seemed from the outside for sure. The grades was all that mattered to me. And in the toughest courses of all, financial economics, I decided to aim to be the top scorer in the class. Now it seems funny, but then I thought that together with stringent scheduling, even sitting in the front row was part of getting the result. So I always came early to the lectures and took my favorite spot. Once though, I was delayed and wasn't the first to enter the auditorium. To my surprise, someone had dared to take my seat. Let me tell you, it was quite a scandal. I got to sit in my spot at the end, but I'm still embarrassed about it. School's gossip column still has evidence about my nastiness, and my course mates probably still think I'm nuts. I could tell you I've gone a long way since then, but actually just a few months ago I almost did somewhat the same, putting my ambitions above what was rational to do. We started working on a hot new project at TWINO, expanding our product offering to a wider range of financial instruments. I truly think it's a brilliant idea with a huge potential. So initially, I self-assigned myself to manage the project. Guess what? I don't have much project management experience, and zero product ownership experience. I am the finance, the strategy, the ops person. A few people in the organization, including the founder, incredulously asked me, "Are you sure you want to do it? Not that you can't, but..." And I didn't see it then. I was structuring a completely inefficient arrangement just because I wanted to be at the forefront of what's hot. The funniest thing, they would let me do it, but I am lucky I realized it was my ego acting out rather than common sense. Now we have structured an outstanding product team in charge of the project. Just when I finished university, I started paying more attention to what I eat. I have many goals with my food. I want it to be nutritious, to taste well, to give me energy for my training, yet not to be too heavy, be filling, as I don't want to ever feel hungry, and I want to keep my body fat percentage on the low side. There are a lot of theories and studies and approaches around food, and I've tried a good deal of them. When I was growing up, it was common knowledge that everyone must eat breakfast. But then it deviated. Then came the eat 7 times a day to make your metabolism quicker. Then the low carb and keto diet. Then it turned to be 2 grams of protein per kilogram. 2 years ago, I discovered that intermittent fasting is a thing. I started skipping breakfast. Fasting keeps my mind alert, my performance in the morning training sessions strong, and my weight went down even though I was eating all I wanted the rest of the time. I was never eating before noon again. Yet, after a short while, I started having crazy hunger attacks, eating all I could get my gaze on, becoming a compulsive overeater. Not overeating started requiring major effort and discipline from my side, which was shattered every time I was stressed or sleep deprived. Food became an issue, a factor of stress on its own. Yet I kept skipping breakfast, as I've committed to do it, and aimed at extending my fasting window further whenever possible. Just a month ago, I found a solution. I broke my internal commitment and started eating breakfast again. And now I feel good around food again. The lesson for me here is that grandma was right. Everyone should eat breakfast. And actually, it is that for different people, and even for the same people at different time periods, the best approach may differ, and that's okay. Having set an approach, having principles is good, but soberly evaluating their appropriateness at a certain point in time may be beneficial nonetheless. The way I see, it's the same for organizations. One can read a lot of books on how to manage a team or a company, how to set organization for growth, and I've done so, yet there is no one truth. Circumstances are different and they change. That's why I keep my mind open when leading TWINO. I plan my own agenda only for a certain period of time. Currently, I prefer quarterly planning. We do target KPIs and target setting at TWINO once per quarter. Annual budgeting doesn't work for us due to business being very dynamic. Same goes for my work agenda and calendar. I set meeting cadence with the team usually just 1 quarter ahead. When the quarter comes to an end, I take a look back and see if anything needs adjusting before I plan the next one. This helps eliminate and recalibrate less efficient meetings and processes and focus instead on what matters at that particular moment. I encourage everyone to do the same. Plan, implement, operate within the plan or framework, but then analyze and rebalance as needed. This is one of the key formulas for growth, the way I see it, both personal and organizational. Always look for ways to do things better. And who knows, maybe we will return to eating our breakfast at TWINO in the future and we'll do the classic annual budgeting again. Every runner needs a plan or a coach, and this is very important. If you want to grow smart, you don't necessarily have to make all the possible mistakes and conclusions on your own. There are shortcuts. One is the already mentioned books. Be critical of what you read, but do read, and see how you can apply what others have learned and summarized for you. If you don't have the time to read, listen. Audible has amazing selection of books, and Spotify offers great podcasts. A bonus, for more efficiency, you can listen while doing something else. It's a great feeling to tap into the double benefit of a run or a walk, plus a great book, for example. 2, seek out all the information that is relevant for you. Become an expert. I'm sure I can write a good book on running, as well as on nutrition, for example. That's how much information I have accumulated on the topics over the years. Don't rely blindly on the first few facts or opinions you encounter. And the most important one for me, don't be afraid to ask for help and support from someone who has already been where you're planning to go. Choose your role models, find a mentor or a coach. I can't emphasize this enough, as I know I wouldn't be here today without the people around me. I was impressed to learn from my first female boss, Helena Dombrovska, that being a manager doesn't mean being tough and autocratic. And I see it with my own eyes that team spirit is actually what drives motivation and achievement much better than pressure and bullying. Our ways parted career-wise, but I'm happy to have this woman as a friend and a good sounding board for any matter at the moment. My second most important mentor has been my husband, who is all for achievement and success, but he consistently been teaching me that career success can't come at the cost of health, relationships, and personal sanity, keeping me grounded and reminding me that life is not all about work. And finally, my largest inspiration is TWINO founder Armands Broks, who believes anything is possible. Armands believed in me early on and gave me as much responsibility as I could handle. I'm lucky to know that whenever I feel I've hit a dead end, he will remind me that there is always a way out. And finally, by now, just knowing what each of these people would suggest in a certain situation is often enough. One accumulates wisdom of their mentors. So find people who inspire you and who you look up to. Don't be afraid to ask them to give you their most valuable resource, their time. As at the end of the day, success is a team sport. That's why I feel lucky to have a chance to share my thoughts with you today. But our time is up, and I'm off to gain new learnings and insights. Thank you.